yourself on the wrong side of law, because the regulation is complex. What we're saying is that payouts or claims that we deal with are fraudulent. And this has impacted, or this impacts the affordability of the solutions that we provide. So what are we doing as Old Mutual is trying to address the root cause of this problem by managing, detecting fraud and managing fraud, so that we make insurance affordable, and that will ultimately then increase the penetration of insurance. Cyber risk and digital security ecosystem, also another key response area that as a business we are investing in, so that we are bundling our cyber security responses not only at Old Mutual, but we offer that also as a solution, because cyber security has become top. Yes, about the workplace and the generation that we are seeing today in the workplace. So this is another risk that we face, not only at Old Mutual, but as an industry and also business leaders. I will talk about the key risk that we are facing, how we are dealing with that, and what other business leaders could look at. Brain drain, where skilled professionals are getting opportunities out of country. We've seen that in our industry, especially the actuarial skills and even risk managers. This was exacerbated by the introduction of IFRS 17, the new reporting standards, where most of our skilled professionals in actuarial were being targeted, especially out of country, and we lost quite a number of that. But what we are doing as Old Mutual is to develop a pool of these skills within the business by supporting them in training, giving them exposures and opportunities outside the country for training, so that at any one point we have a good pool of actuarial professionals who then are able to model for us the risk from a technology perspective. Generational workforce shifts, and this is another risk that we see, that millennials, their work culture is really different from what we all know in this room. We are seeing more and more people who want flexibility. They want what they call purpose work. I don't know what that means. The work-life balance, and that is really challenging the traditional structures, corporate structure that you and I are aware of. How we are reacting to this as Old Mutual is trying to especially accommodate issues around work-life balance, issues around flexibility in working. So during COVID, as an organization, we did 2 years work from home. And that continued today, where now we're having hybrid, especially for non-client facing staff. For those of us who are old, we still understand that I have to wake up at 8 to go to the office. But we are flexible enough to accommodate our millennials, who then have the flexibility to either work from home or from the office, but not losing what let's talk about, the organizational culture. And importantly, how do you manage performance when you are not with the person together? So the culture within the organization that you're driving, and performance management. So we've invested in tools that then are allowing us to ensure that while you're working from home, we are still doing, we know what you're doing. Let's talk about the reskilling and upskilling initiative. We're investing in technology. So AI has stopped becoming a buzzword, but things that we are proactively and basically inculcating into the business. And the flexible work models that I say we still have hybrid, where we allow our staff to work from home, but having performance management tools, and also not losing the organizational culture that we try to build. So as a wind up, they say that risk is the only certainty in businesses. So that calls for us business leaders to build resilience that will help us to withstand and recover from any difficulty. So while some of the risks are insurable, so like insurance risk, I will de-risk that from you. But there are other risks that as a business you have to withstand and enable you to recover. And how we do that is just being able to scope the risk that you face as a business, whether it is long-term, medium, immediate, or long-term, and then preparing a response strategy that will enable you to withstand that risk. So in closing, as a business, we must choose resilience over risk aversion. Because, as Joe stated, that the sun sets from and west. Yes, that is risk, because risk is certain that it will be there with us. So what do we do with it? So in a world where uncertainty is the only certainty, resilience, not avoidance, is the winning strategy. So we need to ask ourselves as businesses, have we equipped ourselves with risk intelligence and risk coverage? And are we proactively then shaping the risk environment or just reacting to it? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Japheth. Really appreciate you. Let's just appreciate Japheth again. Resilience. Let's grow thick skin in a nice way, in a good way for us to be able to survive. You know, this conversation of future leadership of Gen Z is very interesting. And now if you've not noticed, it's coming closer home to your doorsteps. You know, this week alone I've experienced crazy things with Gen Zs. My wife locked her car keys in her car. And the old school guy that I am, I thought I'd look for a wire and try to pull that thing from inside the car, and it was impossible. I don't know how those guys do it. So my mechanic gave me a number of a guy to call him, and that the guy would be available to where I am in less than 10 minutes. So I called this guy, and a very young guy with, you know, interesting hairstyle, dreadlock, came in. He had a gadget that looked like it was being carried in an A4 envelope. So he opened the envelope, removed a small thing that can pump pressure, and attached to it was a rubber point that looked like an envelope. And he took this envelope and put it at the top of the of the front window where the car key was. And then he pressed it on, and it started expanding the window frame, the door frame, from the top of the window. And he removed my key in 3 minutes. And I asked him out of curiosity whether he's been to school, and he told me he's a software engineer. He did engineering at JKU. And I asked him, you've never wanted to look for any other job? He told me he's not interested, because he'll do that for 3 minutes. He will do about 10 cars, and he charges 5,000 per car. Okay? The other day, my wife tried employing a digital marketing lady. And this lady asked for a job description. And they are very knowledgeable. Could you kindly give me your JD so that I can go through it, so that I know what conversations we are having going forward? And after she went through the JD and looked at the working hours, she said no. She said, I cannot manage those hours. Is it possible that I can have an extremely flexible time around me to be able to deliver? You're sitting there wondering, hey, how do I approach this conversation? I need this lady on board, but how do I do it? But that is where the future is going. How do we adapt? How do we accommodate? Then you go to your house, and your 9-year-old daughter is telling you, Dad, I don't want to ever get married. And I'm looking at this girl and I'm wondering, where did that come from? And then I'm like, so you don't want to ever have a family and have children? She's like, no, I'm just okay with my friends. Okay? the Gen Alpha who are born with technology in their mouths, what are we going to do to accommodate their way of thinking? Because some of us, unfortunately, lost opportunities to join government. One time I had an interview with government, I could not get that position because I was not married. That is how things are changing. How do we adapt and accommodate going forward? So thank you so much, Jafet, for that conversation. We appreciate you. My next speaker, before we go on a break, is going to be talking to us about future-ready leadership. Okay? There's the leadership that is supposed to be foolproof for the future, but how do we make sure that it's future-ready? Investing in talent and building leadership pipelines. You know, I know a lot of us fear building leadership pipelines because you imagine they come with a lot of demands, emotional, financial, and otherwise. But how do we realistically do it? Because we are trying to create resilient, sustainable businesses going into the future. And therefore, allow me to introduce to you Mary Kinyua. Mary Kinyua is a celebrated professional with close to 2 decades of experience in HR, governance, and legal matters. She's the CEO of a company called IWAT Consulting, recognized as top 40 under 40 female leader and first runner-up of the HR Director of the Year. Mary is dedicated to mentoring young women, and maybe she'll tell us why women only as we go along the way. But she's also an alumni of Nanyang Business School, Singapore Stratford Business School, and the Center of Corporate Governance, and a member of the Institute of Human Resources Managers. She's currently pursuing a PhD, so shortly, kikutana naye, you address her right. Si kusema tu Mary. So, karibu Mary, and appreciate Mary.
But I'll try this one for Joe, standing here. You're well? Great. So you're all CEOs. Is that the demography? Here, how many CEOs do you have? You have one CEO? This one I know, this one I'm clear. Oh, and chairman, the rest? Board members? Really all I say. Good. My name is Mary. I am a HR practitioner. I've been practicing for the last 20 years. So today when Joe was giving examples of when we were younger, okay, I realized I cannot use that when I was younger phrase. So in this particular session, I am never younger. I am young. Yeah. I usually use it because most of the time, if I go to a forum, I'm mostly one of the older ones. Now, I've been humbled, I've come down. Also, I just summited Mount Kenya, just so you know. I'm just about to start working with that medal everywhere, just for purposes of, and I'm going to do that for like 1 year. Yeah, no one's taking it away from me. 1 whole year I'm just going to be talking about it. Yeah. And of course, what I do is I deal with people, and I was just listening to all the speakers before me, and the common problem is people. Is it? You know, we talk regulation, we talk all this, but we go back to people. Because organizations are generally made by people. So I'm going to give you a few examples of my people experience, and then hopefully we can have a further conversation around it. And I can also maybe give you a few of my thinking around people management before you even get to leadership and managing or creating leaders in your organization. So I work for different businesses, and I generally go to businesses that are troublesome, just like Joe. And generally, I work around transformation or growth. Those are the two ones that excite me. So my recent assignment was in Naivas, where we grew the workforce from 4,000 employees to 11,000 employees by the time I was exiting. And of course, Naivas was a mom and pop before I came in, and my work there was really to transform it into a corporate business. Now, when I look at businesses in this country, I see a lot of ambition, I see a lot of ideas, but implementation, this is where we draw the line when it comes to commitment to implementation. Remember, generally leadership, talent management is a long-term game. And like many things in business, for example, sales, you can increase your sales by increasing your product quickly and then selling it right, etc. So it's a quick win. But when it comes to talent, yeah, it's a much longer conversation. Also, it requires a lot more than what I see leaders willing to give. So in HR, the first thing I learned in an organization, I've worked for 7 organizations in 20 years. I am a fast mover. Sarah, can we settle that? I move very fast. So if you look at what's the biggest challenge today? If you look at the biggest challenge in an organization, what's the problem? Regulation, of course, is one, but the other one is wage bill. So in most of the organizations where there's a 4% margin, most probably labor costs are about 7% of the wage. I'm currently working for an organization whose wage bill is the 3rd largest cost center in that organization. In manufacturing, it's even worse. It can get up to 50% of the cost, depending on which organization you're in. So wage bill generally is it's one of the biggest costs in every business. But the casual way in which we say managers manage these people, I don't understand these strategies. Yeah, I don't understand this thing you talk about strategy, because this is one of your largest costs. In the aviation, for example, 40% goes to fuel, 25% goes to paying tariffs, the rest, almost the rest, yeah, about 12-13% goes to labor costs. If you look at all industries, retail, for example, 7% in wage. But the lightness in which you all handle the very most important thing that your money is going to is really very interesting. So for example, you will find a very good organization that does not have something as simple as job descriptions. So me ask, what are you paying for? What are these people doing? What are you paying for? When you think, what does this person do? What are you paying for? That lack of clarity means 90% of the people you have don't know what they're supposed to do. But you seem to know what they're supposed to do. So the two of you are thinking very differently. What you think is results and what they think is results are completely different. Structures, very conflicted organizational structures. So people don't know, who do I report to? So you report to the loudest, the fastest, depending on how the organization works, okay? You then decide, who's backing today? Who's backing? You look that way. So again, causes a lot of disruption. There's a lot of wastage in most of the organization. I can tell you that, having transformed at least 3 businesses. There's a lot of wastage, both in startups and legacy businesses. Legacy, of course, we know why, because they've been there for a very long time. But startups, because of course they're starting out, and at the beginning everyone is everything. And that most probably doesn't change. It actually keeps evolving. But the first thing for me, in developing any talent, whether you're going to succession planning at the very top, or you are starting to build your talent from the beginning, is first agree, clarify. And these are my 4 C's of talent management. One is this clarity. Who are you? What do you stand for? Yani, who are you? Yani, who do you sell to? The same manufacturer selling to a B2B, who has a B2B strategy, will have a very different persona of staff than a manufacturer who sells to C, who is a B2C. Therefore, you must clarify who is your client. For example, in NIPAS, where I stayed for 4 years, the question is, who is our customer? Therefore, who is our competitor, right? We're in the retail sector, but who is our customer? If you go to NIPAS today, from today, just see, look at the tomato sauce shelf. Maximum number of tomato sauces brands you will find will be about 3 or 4. Because we know the Kenyan customer we are targeting is a price hunter. Okay? Let's Carrefour bring 55 brands of tomato sauce because they are targeting the urban market person who wants choice, who is shopping for fun. As they are targeting Kamau. Kamau just wants tomato sauce. Where is tomato sauce? Okay? That informs even the talent you hire for that particular organization. You're not going to hire because Kamau is the one showing up sour. So you can just hire talent that addresses Kamau. So first, as a business, ask yourself, what do you actually do? Who are you? What do you do? How can you define your business? We're all in the same industry, but how have you defined yourself? And you cannot be all things to all people. That's the first point of first clarify to selves as CEOs What is it our business does? Defining the ethos that you embody, move into the market to find the person who addresses your ethos or the person who addresses your persona. Please, don't go hiring from Stanbic. Now, wewe ni mtu wa okay, I don't know what you're saying. That one you're saying. Okay? It's not that you're Jatosha Boga, it's just because that persona is not directed to your brand. But how will you know the persona if you don't know your brand? So clarify. Be very clear so that when you walk into the market, people, first of all, hiring people is just bad. Don't hire. First of all, try not to. That's the first part. Try not to hire at all. But when you're going to hire, be as clear as mud. Who you're looking for, what their picture of success looks like, how you're going to measure that success. The current conversation around working from home has nothing to do with board bodies. It has everything to do, I am not even sure why I hired you. So because of that, I must see you. Please, arrive yourselves, okay? Arrive. Because I need to see you. Because I don't know why did I really hire you, I'm not sure, okay. I need you to arrive, sour. So it has nothing to do with office spaces, are we forward, are we not? It has everything to do with, we cannot count your work, therefore, we need to see your body, at least so that we can justify why we are releasing payroll of that 29. So that's first thing, clarify. Really work on clarify. And I'm seeing this as a big challenge for me. Every time I meet, I'm an executive coach, and every time I coach a leader, they're like, watu wangu hawafanyi? Okay, so I'm like, such as, let's start. What do they do? You know, this guy is supposed to go to which market? Kizungu, English. But when we go down to the basic, they are not also clear what the picture of success does was. Okay? That's the first thing, so clarify. Then, once you're clear, you yourself first as a leader, and this is why we call really leaders, to really be clear. You know? Once you're clear, then communicate. And there are many ways of communicating, but there is no, you must err on over-communication at all times. At all times. Think about your own children. Me, I have 2, a 9 and a 7-year-olds, and sometimes I don't understand whether they have wax in their ears. I'm constantly wondering, because I seem to have to repeat myself many times, okay? Anyway, even for your employees, err on over-communication. Think about yourself when you are in much lower cadres, when you don't know what is happening. Like now, this is a good example. As Kenyans, we don't even know what is going on. Are we going? Are we coming? This government, this is here. You know? So imagine an employee with that level of confusion. They're not giving you any money. They're just waiting to see what is happening. Again, wastage, pilferage from a very critical resource and a fixed cost that you can actually be very little about. Also, by the time you go to market, ensure that that job can exist for not less than 5 years. That job is still relevant. And that you can continue paying it for 5 years. Why? The amount of disruption you cause that person, you approach them from company A, you take them to company yours, right? You don't have a plan, it's not clear. 2 years later, you're throwing them out. You're being sued. Yeah, in 5 years, you have gone through a whole, marriage, divorce, and everything. So really think again about it. Then communicate. Communicate. This is what we stand for, and it's okay. If what you stand for and what you stand for differ, it is very important that at that point you do what? You separate. Don't try to force it. Yeah? But ensure that you're constantly communicating. That's the second thing. The third thing is the cadence. So re-themes. What are the re-themes in your business to manage talent? I'm telling you, it doesn't matter whether you're bringing in graduate training programs or you're doing succession plan. What are your re-themes? Do you have reviews? Do you have feedback sessions? Do you actually plan? Do you because people like structure in general, whether they are architects, whether there's AI, whether there's whatever, there are basics. So create cadence, and you, especially as leader, straight to the cadence. We find appraisals are being pushed down, but the CEO has not appraised his own exco. So what are you telling us? You're not serious yourself. So So I come from a family of teachers. I think I should have been a teacher. It's only that now I'm here, so I can speak. Like I say, just the rhythms. Create rhythms
rhythms that clarify that one, we are clear about our objectives, two, we follow through on those objectives, three, we actually consistently have these particular rhythms that support that particular agenda. So don't be a loose organization. You only call for meetings when it is burning, you're about to kill everyone, you know. No. And you look like you're an organized person, okay? The way you all look organized, no, when you look at you, you look like you're organized. Just try and make sure you have rhythms that support your business and also support that agenda. We heard about Joe talking about involvement, inclusion of people. What are they thinking? By the way, when I go to a meeting, I know exactly what I want to get from that meeting. See me, I'm already the chief. I already know what I want to get. So I will allow everyone to keep talking. They can talk. What may I have time? I have airtime. Talk ahead. What are you thinking, Salome? And John, brilliant idea. But I already know none of these ideas are brilliant. I am going to go to with mine. But you see, by the time I land there, we are kind of aligned, isn't it? I actually listened, didn't I? I listened, I looked interested. You guys are the bosses, guys. It's not that serious. Just take a little bit of time, listen to people. People love to be listened. Just listen and you look interested. Then also give your own idea, okay? Which is the idea, the main idea. These others were just thoughts. So I find that you guys are too busy. You're too busy. Then you lose a very beautiful opportunity to actually bring people with you. Because leadership is about bringing the people with you. So we talked about, what's the first one? Clarity. What's the second one? Communicate. Era on over communication. And what's the third one? And it's the rhythms that we create. And what is the last one is the courage. What we are finding now, I'm finding both as an executive coach, as a management consultant, when I consult, and also in the workshops where I sit, there seems to be a breed of leaders unable to make very simple decisions. This is a reflection of our government. It's coming from somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is. I'm also convinced that most of our leaders today have too many car loans and mortgages. That's also there is no way you can speak. You know, mortgages and car loans cannot allow you to speak. You have a thought, but the mortgage and the car loan is sitting on you in such a way, the thought has just... Me, when I was growing up, I was not going to use that one, but I have to use it. The leaders I went under, or the leaders I worked with, were fearless. Man, you remember Neil Helling's on a work with him in Australia, and he was like, what is the body saying? We are going to tell them this, you know? And it's okay, let's get fired, let's get fired. You know, I'm not shit, and it's okay, let's get... Hey, but Tukisama today, let's get fired. And the mortgages are sitting up to here. We are just like, maybe not today, okay? You know? And that actually for me, as a Kenyan first, and an HR practitioner, is a really worrying trend. Because it means the leaders are not dying to the vision. If they themselves are not dead to the vision, how can they lead? Who are they to where? Where are we going? Today, the CEO of Kenya Airlines, my very good friend, has put a statement out because SAA, which is the South African Airlines, has of course announced in the newspaper that they have looked at him and they prefer him as their next CEO. You know, that's a big honor. You know, SAA of course was dead, it's coming up back alive. But it's a big honor. But he's put out a notice to his employees telling them, I am committed to the cause of KQ turning around. Therefore, whilst I've been approached, and he's being honest, while I've been approached, of course he would not have been honest if it was not on the newspaper. However, whilst I've been approached, I am still committed to our cause. So even if you hear it, just go, yes, it's true, but I am convinced that this is the way forward. And I'm staying here with you guys. Tell me about those employees. Some of you, hey, it's not clear. While the employees are looking for a job, even you're looking for. Right? So I think for me, first the courage is to know that always the leadership burden is a yoke. It's not, you're not selected. You know, you actually, because nothing is different about you. Nothing. You all have degrees, you all have this, but it's a calling. Leadership is different.
You know, it practically requires you to come to be out of body in experience. So that the people behind you, when you talk about inspiring confidence, they actually see the confidence. And it can be seen. We know the people who, if you do this, they're all running. And you know the ones, hey, you know, like our president. You know our president, Gen Z is always strong, but he's standing on a body of intelligence, whatever he says. It's not clear. It's not even clear what he says, okay? So for me, it is really the courage, first, to die to your vision. So that you're able to bring other people along. But also the courage to have difficult conversations, especially where talent is concerned. We keep some people a little too long. As a HR practitioner myself, I suffer from this. And a year ago, I actually hired someone in my team, maybe 2 years ago. I hired someone in my team. And first, I don't even know how I hired them because me, I'm in HR. And I made a very wrong hire. Exiting that hire took me 18 months. But I've paid for it with my life. You know, there's just a way PLP works. You're about to exit someone, then they do something great. Then you're like, it's not very clear, is it? But you see, if I think about it, there was no clarity at the beginning around exactly what that role was supposed to produce. You know, I've really had to really go back, even speak to myself. You know, speaking to yourself, you know, you call yourself and ask yourself, really, are you really, you know? Because I couldn't believe it. And I'm telling you, it's taking me 18 months to exit this person. They've left very bitterly. They are threatening half the time to go to Kina Joe's people and put me on the media. Yeah, it's just a whole conundrum. And I'm going to a place where I have to die to my own personality and say, it's okay, cheers. You take it whatever it is. Because I believe that what I did was right, and I believe that you are not right. You know, and because of this and this and that. Then it also took me going to a coach and saying to a coach, oh no, Nandi, how do you see this? You know, should I go this way or what way should I go? So it is hard. But the sooner you do it, the better. So don't drag these conversations about, oh, Nandi doesn't work, lakini. The faster you do it, the better. Also, when you're communicating about succession, also have the courage. I find the fear is, if I tell you you're my successor, you will not start getting a big head. It's okay. You know, at least you will know that the big head means you're no longer a successor. So courage always. Courage to your vision, courage to exit people who are working for you, and of course courage to have conversations of value where you're actually uplifting the people under you. So I really do hope when you go back, you shall be better CEOs, you shall manage your people better, you shall have more peace than currently you do, and that of course the value that you get from this particular employees will be beneficial to your organization. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mary. I think hiyo unakai unasema nitajiita mkutano. You are the CEO, but unajiita mkutano. It's going to be inevitable for that to happen. You know, I read somewhere somebody saying when Mary was talking about meetings, you know, there are guys who love meetings. And somebody was saying the people who love meetings are people who have no authority and power to speak anything in their houses. So the moment you drop your wife, you go to the office and call for a meeting. Because you know, when you go back home, you have to remain silent. But remember, whether you choose to speak, have a meeting, or remain silent, you're a brand, you're pushing a brand. Engagements must happen, you must add value to yourself and the journey that you own as an institution. And thank you so much, Mary, for that. At this point, just before we go for a break, there's something we want to do. We just want to take one photo here with everybody. We'll take a short coffee break, and there's still a lot to bite out there, and then we'll come back for the last conversations. But before we also do that, allow me to just acknowledge and appreciate and bring to the fore who our host is for the day. I know you've been seeing Park, Priority Activator Consulting. We are here with the founder and managing partner for Park, Eric Ngala. I think it would be good for you to stand up and just wave and say jambo to everybody else. Jambo. I'll come and think I'll have a word just before we close, but at the moment I leave it to Derek. Thank you very much. Thank you, I appreciate you, Eric. So I think paparazzi atatupanga hapa kidogo. We just take one photo, then we go out for a break, then come back and carry on. I think after we come back, we'll just be another 1 hour, 1.5 hours at most, then we'll be done with our day. But thank you so much, His Father, come.
ceremony. 2 days. How long was that like? Good. Asking if like 4 reps. It's like 2.5. That's too big. Let's get up.
So I think this is what we'll do. The panelists will sit here. Some guys will stand right behind them, and then the others will the podium. Depending how you are blessed in terms of height. Yeah, so Joe, kind of. Karibuni. Hii generation iko hapa ni watu wa Instagram. Unajua nataka kujua already it's very important. Ama hao ndo wanasema watu wa Facebook. So let's go so that there's no the podium is allowing the short guys to look tall. Hey, tell somebody you are 7'5". All right, and you smile. I don't know. Yes, it's a man. It's a PhD. Right? Yes, smile. You have a PhD now. Thank you very much. So I'm going to request you to do a 10-minute coffee break, then we come back.